The stars were quiet, too quiet. The human ship Orion Dawn floated slowly through Sector 9, a part of space no one visited often. It was a research vessel, not made for war. Inside, 32 scientists and engineers worked on deep space. Energy readings. They were peaceful people. They believed science could bring all species together. They did not carry heavy weapons. They did not need them. At least that's what they believed. The mission was going well. The crew had collected strange data from a nearby star system. The signals were different, stronger, older, and somehow full of purpose. The lead scientist, Dr. Ilara Griggs, looked over the readings again and again, like someone left this energy behind, she said. But who? And why? The crew joked about ancient alien civilizations and lost empires. They laughed, made coffee, and kept working. No one was scared. No one thought about danger. The Orion Dawn had sent regular updates back to Earth every 6 hours. Everything was calm until the last message. It came through the Deep Space Network. Just 5 words. No video, no voice, no explanation. Something is watching us now. Then, silence. No one at Earth Command understood what had happened. They tried to call the ship back. Nothing. They sent drones. The drones vanished too. A rescue ship followed, but it never returned. Earth was shocked. 1 ship lost was a mistake. 2 could be bad luck. But 3, the top brass at the Earth Alliance Council met in secret. The room was dark, the walls thick. Generals, scientists, and politicians sat around the long steel table. Some shouted for answers. Others demanded war. But there was nothing to fight. No proof of an enemy. No wreckage. No clues. Then a signal came. It did not come through any known channel. It appeared on every screen in the council room at the same time. It was a single word, written in glowing red letters. Leave no voice, no face, no sender. The room fell silent. General Hawkins stood slowly. Hey, that was not human, he said. And it was not a warning. That was a command. No one argued. They all felt it. The message was cold, heavy, and filled with something ancient. Something that did not fear humans. Something that wanted them gone. But Earth did not leave. They sent more ships, but this time, the ships stayed back. They watched from far away, scanning every inch of Sector 9. Still, they found nothing. It was like something invisible was there. Something that only showed itself when it wanted to. A few weeks later, strange things started happening across human space. Small ships disappeared without any trace. Space stations reported power failures. 1 cargo vessel found its hull marked with deep claw-like cuts, as if something had scraped it in passing. The crew swore they saw a shadow outside their ship, one that didn't match anything known. They said it moved too fast, and it didn't make sound. Then came the dreams. People started having the same dream. A dark planet, a sky full of fire. And a voice, not speaking words, but showing feelings. Rage, hunger, silence. Some called it mass panic. Others said it was psychic contact. But none could explain why people across different planets, different sectors, had the same vision. And always, in the end, they woke up gasping, cold, and afraid. Earth Command decided it was time to speak directly. They broadcast a message in all known languages. It was short and respectful. We come in peace. We do not seek war. If our presence has caused harm, we apologize. Let us speak. No answer came. But something else did. A mining station on the edge of human space picked up a signal. It was weak and broken, but it was human. A voice, this is Commander Reyes. It's from Orion. Dawn. ... They didn't want to kill us. ... They wanted to test us. They want to see what we become. When we break... ... The signal cut. The station saved the recording and sent it to Earth. Scientists worked to clean the audio to find more. But there was nothing else, just those words. They wanted to test us. It was not an attack, not a mistake. It was a game. A test of fear. A hidden race had found humans and decided to see what would happen if they pushed too hard. If they hurt, stole, and killed, just to see what humanity would do. The council split into two camps. One side wanted to pull back, hide, protect their people. The other side wanted to prepare for war, but they had no enemy to aim at. No name, no face. Only a mystery in the dark. That's when a scout ship returned. It had been missing for 3 weeks. It appeared suddenly near a trade route, engines damaged, life support low. Inside was one survivor, a woman named Ava Cole. She was barely alive, but she kept repeating the same thing. They knew we would follow. They wanted us to come closer. They wanted to see our anger. It's not about territory, it's about fear. They feed on it, ... Doctors said she had been tortured, but not physically. Her mind had been ... altered. Like something had touched her thoughts. Dug through them. Played with them. Some said it was telepathy. Others called it something worse. Soul mapping. A way of looking into a person's fear and using it against them. The Drekken, though humans didn't know their name yet, were studying humanity like animals in a cage. Watching, poking, waiting, and Earth was starting to wake up. The news was kept secret from the public, but word always spreads. People started preparing. Some stocked up supplies, others trained. Old military factories lit up again. Weapons long thought useless were brought back. Earth was still not attacking, but it was no longer blind. Far in space, in the same place where the Orion dawn had vanished, something moved. It was not seen by the human eyes. It made no sound. But it watched. It studied. And it smiled. If such a thing could smile, it had pushed other species before. Weak ones, curious ones. But none had reacted like this. None had made weapons from fear. None had remained calm after such loss. Humanity did not break. It sharpened. For the first time, the thing felt something it had not felt in ages. Interest, not fear. Not concern, but interest. Maybe this race was different. Maybe they were. Not prey, maybe. It could be something more. The test was just beginning, and Earth had only just opened its eyes. Space was quiet again. Too quiet. After the strange message and the return of only one broken scout ship, Earth was on edge. Every radar, telescope, and listening post pointed toward Sector 9. Still, nothing came. No signal, no ship, no answer. But something else was happening. A small human outpost called New Terra had stopped sending reports. It was a science base on a lonely moon, far from any trade route. Only 15 people lived, their scientists, engineers, and a few security staff. They worked on deep energy drilling, far from war, far from danger, or so they thought. When the first report didn't come, Earth Command waited. Maybe a delay. Technical error. It had happened before. But after 24 hours of silence, they sent a long-range drone. It reached the moon, but the outpost was dark. The buildings were there. The power grid was working. But there was no sign of life. The drone entered the main lab. Inside, it found broken chairs, tools scattered across the floor, and something that should not be there. Claw marks. Not from any known tool. Not mechanical. The walls were scratched, long and deep, as if something huge had dragged its fingers across steel. The drone moved further in. There was no blood, no bodies, no damage to computers, just silence. Then scratches, then it found the recording, a short file, only 6 seconds long, video and audio. It showed the main lab with 3 people looking at something off camera. Their faces were pale, eyes wide with fear. One of them whispered, "It's not supposed to be here, ... Double quotes. Then the lights went out. That was it. Earth Command called it a containment failure, but those who saw the recording knew better. Something had come. Something that didn't break walls or destroy machines.
Ow.
It only scared people. And then took them. Earth was afraid, but still no one spoke the name of war. Still, they hoped for peace. But the fear was growing. That's when it began. Across space, small ships started to vanish. A family transport disappeared on the way to Mars. A mining freighter was found drifting, empty with the crew gone and food still warm in the kitchen. A deep space radio station heard something strange, a loud hum, followed by a whisper in a language no one knew. And then something new happened. A cargo ship called Sunbreaker made it back. The ship had been attacked, but not destroyed. In orbit around Jupiter, engines damaged and hull cracked. The captain, Jonas Vex, was still alive. He had burns on his arms and face. He was shaking, but he kept repeating the same words. They let us go. They could have taken everything. He just wanted to watch us run. Jonas said something had followed them. A ship, but not like any he had seen before. It had no engines. It made no sound. It moved like smoke and water. And it didn't fire weapons. It simply appeared near the Sunbreaker, scanned its hand, waited. Jonas ordered his crew to flee. Jumped to light speed, but before that he saw something. A face. Not human, not mechanical. A face made of shadows, eyes like black stars. It stared into his mind, not his eyes. They weren't here to fight, Jonas said. They were here to see what fear looks like. The council met again. This time, the mood was different. Earth was no longer asking for peace. It was trying. To understand the enemy, if they had one, Dr. Alara Griggs returned. She had worked on the Orion Dawn project and now studied the signals from the missing stations. She showed a pattern. Every time a ship was taken, a strange energy spike happened nearby. Not random, not natural. These spikes, she said, pointing to the screen, are like a fingerprint. And they're getting closer to Earth. One general slammed his fist on the table. Then we fight now. But others warned, fight what? We don't even know where they are. That's when Earth did something bold. They launched Valkyrie 1, a new type of ship. Fast, silent, covered in stealth tech. Not for war, but for watching. It was crewed by only 7 people soldiers, scientists, and 1 pilot. Their job? Go deep into Sector 9, find the enemy. Do not engage, just watch. The Valkyrie 1 left quietly without news. It flew through black space deeper than any human had dared since the attacks. For days, nothing happened. Then, on day 6, it found something. A ship. Or maybe not a ship. It was hard to tell. It floated without engines, without heat. Its surface was smooth like glass, but it bent light around it, like a mirror hiding behind fog. The crew called it the Ghost. The pilot, Lieutenant Mara Rios, got close. Her hands were steady, but her voice shook. It's watching us, she whispered. It doesn't move, but it's watching. They scanned the ghost ship. No life, no power. But the sensors showed something strange. Inside the ship was a pulse, like a heartbeat. Slow, deep, and old. Something alive, or something pretending suddenly. The ship moved. Not fast, not loud. It simply vanished. One blink and it was gone. Back on Earth, the Council received the data. The ghost ship's design didn't match anything in the galaxy. Not human, not alien. Nothing on record. Dr. Griggs looked at the scans. Her face turned pale. It wasn't moving in space, she said. It was moving through space, like ... folding it. The Drekken had revealed a piece of themselves. On purpose, it was a message. We are not bound by your rules. We're not afraid. Of your speed, we are watching. Then a new signal came. It was from a long-range human station on the edge of neutral space. The station had picked up a transmission in deep space code, not Drekken code, human code. It came from a human ship one that had been missing for months. The Aegis Star. The signal was weak, broken, but it said only this. They are preparing to enter your space. Their test is complete. Your answer decides your future. After that, silence again. The signal was real. The Aegis Star had disappeared near Sector 9. If it was alive, ... who had it? Why let it speak now? General Hawkins stood again at the council. Enough guessing, enough waiting. This isn't exploration. This is chess. And they've made their move. Earth sent another message. This one was different. Not a plea, not a threat. Just a simple truth. We see you. And for the first time, Earth activated the Sentinel program. Hidden warships, cloaked in deep space. Old projects buried in silence. Machines built not for defense but for revenge. They did not launch. They did not fire. They simply opened their eyes. The spark was lit, and in the dark corners of space, something smiled. The test was over. Now came the answer. The stars were still silent. Earth had said, "We see you." But the enemy, whoever they were, gave no reply. For 5 days, nothing moved. No signals, no new attacks. People began to wonder if it was over. Maybe the strange things in the dark had finally gone away. Then came the ship. It appeared at the edge of the solar system without warning. No signal, no ID, no call for help. A deep space listening post near Pluto picked it up first. It was drifting, slow, broken. Its engines were off. Its power was dying. The ship was human. Its name was written in fading paint across the hull, CNS. Vindicator. A small battle-class ship, fast and light. It had gone missing 3 months ago in the outer sectors. During a patrol near Drekken Zone 2, Earth Command moved fast. A rescue team was sent. The ship was boarded carefully by armed soldiers. In full gear, they expected wreckage. They expected bodies. But what they found was worse. The Vindicator was almost untouched. No fire, no holes in the hull, no sign of battle. The ship had simply stopped. The crew was gone. What? All except one. A man was found in the command chair. Alive. Breathing but silent. His eyes stared forward, wide open, unblinking. He did not speak. He did not move. But he held something tight in his hand, a metal tag, covered in blood. It was the ID tag of his first officer. He had carved something into it with a sharp edge. 3 words. They let me. Doctors tried to wake him, tried to make him talk. His name was Commander Luke Wren, a strong man, a leader. Now broken, finally after hours of silence, he spoke. Only once, only one sentence. They didn't want to kill us, they wanted us to see. After that, he fell into a coma. Nothing more. The ship's data logs were damaged, wiped clean with surgical precision. But the black box was hidden. Earth's command pulled it and decoded what they could. Only fragments of video remained. Grainy, dark, terrifying. One clip showed the crew running through the halls, guns ready, shouting orders. Another showed strange shadows moving across the walls, shapes that didn't match the crew. And then, a final clip. The entire crew standing in the cargo bay, frozen. Staring up, something was above them. The screen glitched. Static. And then, screams after that. Nothing. The footage ended with Commander Wren alone, breathing hard, whispering to himself. They wanted us to understand. They wanted us to look at ourselves. The council met again. No one laughed now. No one spoke of peace. General Hawkins was the first to say it out loud. "We are not at war yet," he said. "But we are under attack." Dr. Alara Griggs nodded. "But it's not a normal attack. It's not about land or resources. They don't want to conquer. They want to study us. Push us, make us change." One young admiral asked. "Change? Into what?" No one answered. That's when Earth made a choice. They built a ship, not a research vessel, not a stealth drone. A ship made for one purpose, to be seen. The ship was called Hairful. It was large, powerful, and bright, covered in human symbols, colors, and words. Its mission was not to hide. It was to travel into Sector 9 and send a message. We are not prey. Hammerfall carried no weapons on the outside, but its hull was lined with deep armor, secret tech, and something new, something Earth had never used before. A prototype device based on strange alien readings, a pulse wave that could show anything hidden, a way to drag invisible things into the light. The ship left quietly. Its captain was a woman named Cora Mendez, calm, sharp, and fearless. She had seen the broken ships. She had watched the Vindicators video. She knew what might be waiting. She went anyway. "I will send back the truth," she said before leaving. "Whatever it is." For 3 days, nothing happened. Then, on the 4th day, the hammerfall sent a signal. A single short video showed a shadow in space, too big, too smooth. The pulse wave fired. The shadow became a shape, a ship unlike anything in the human database. It looked like a piece of darkness had been cut out of space. Its surface shimmered, like oil on water. It had no engines, no lights, no heat. But it turned. It looked at the Amphel. The human ship did not move. Then a second signal came, one Earth did not expect. It was a message, spoken in perfect English, in a soft, cold voice. "You are not afraid." That is, ... interesting. Earth Command stared at the message in silence. The voice continued. "You came not to hide, but to be seen. You bring light into the dark. We do not destroy the light. We study it until it burns too bright." Then nothing. The signal ended. But before the line cut, the face of the enemy appeared. It was not a monster, not a demon, not even clearly alien. It was something in between. Its features shifted. Male, female, neither. Its eyes were bottomless, as if looking into a well that had no end, and behind the eyes, a strange feeling. Not hate, curiosity. Captain Cora sent one last message. "They are watching us, but we are watching back." Then the hammerfall turned and came home. It was not attacked, it was allowed to return, and that was the warning. A silent, terrifying warning. The enemy was not interested in destroying Earth, not yet. They were interested in what humans would become. When pushed too far, would they collapse? Would they surrender? Or would they evolve? The answer was coming, and deep in the stars the Drekken watched. They had tested other species before. The weak ones begged for mercy. The brave ones fought and died. But humans were doing something. Knew they were preparing. Not to beg, not to die, but to answer the question, what are humans? Really? The sky over Earth was calm, but the people were not. For weeks now, everyone had felt it. Something cold in the air, something waiting just beyond the stars. News about the ghost ships and missing stations had not reached the public in full, but rumors always found a way. Whispers spread that something was testing Earth, that something was watching, and that Earth had finally looked back. The leaders of the Earth Alliance decided to try one last time. One last chance for peace. The enemy, now called the Drekken, had spoken once. In clear English, that meant they could listen. Maybe they wanted to. A signal was sent across the stars. It was polite, careful, human. "We ask for a meeting. A peaceful one. To understand, not to fight. To find a future without war." There was no answer for 3 days. Then, at midnight Earth time, every screen across human space turned black. Phones, tablets, ship monitors, even old billboards and empty streets, all of them. At the same time, a face appeared. It was not a solid face. It shifted, sometimes male, sometimes female, sometimes neither. Its skin was gray like stone. Eyes were deep shadows. And when it spoke, the voice echoed like wind through a cave. "You ask for peace," it said, "but you do not know what peace costs." Earth held its breath. The Drekken continued. "You are young. Your kind still dreams of unity, still believes in mercy. That is beautiful. And dangerous." General Hawkins stood in the council room, watching the screen. "What do you want from us?" The Drekken's face tilted. "We wanted to see what you would do. We have studied you, watched your minds, your fears, your courage. You are ... different. And stop the attacks," Hawkins said. "Let us speak." "We are speaking," the Drekken replied. Then the voice fell silent. The screen changed. Place appeared, a dark, hollow place in space, full of strange shapes and spinning lights. A neutral zone. No ships, No weapons. Just silence. The Drekken said, "Send 3. No more? Come in peace, or don't come at all." The council agreed. They chose 3 people: Dr. Alara Griggs, scientist who had studied the signals from the beginning; Ambassador James Merrick, an expert in alien diplomacy; and Commander Vale. Rowan, a war hero and peace seeker, calm under fire. Trusted by both soldiers and civilians, the 3 boarded a small ship called Truce One. It had no weapons, no shields, just a message of peace. They flew to the location given by the Drekken. When they arrived, there was nothing, just stars and emptiness. Then, stars changed. A Drekken vessel appeared from the black, like a shadow peeling away from the void. It was massive. It didn't fly, it floated, silent and unnatural. A voice spoke inside their minds. "Enter." The ship opened. Inside was not metal, not steel. It was living, breathing, like walking through the stomach of some great beast. The 3 humans walked together. Lights lit up ahead of them, one by one. They entered a chamber with no windows and no seats, just a platform. Then the Drekken came. It did not walk. It drifted. Its face shimmered with shapes and feelings, not expressions. Ambassador Marek stepped forward. "We thank you for this chance to speak." The Drekken voice echoed in their minds. "You want to survive?" "We want peace," Marek replied. "Same thing," said the Dr. Kakaon. Dr. Griggs asked the question burning in her mind. "Why test us?" The Drekken turned toward her. "To see what you are. All life wears a mask. War tears it off." Commander Rowan spoke. "What did you see in us?" The room grew darker, cold. The Drekken said nothing for a long time. Then it whispered, "We saw fire." Suddenly the walls of the room shimmered. Images floated around them. Humans in war. On Earth, on Mars, in space, children crying, bombs falling, hands holding weapons. Hands reaching for help. "You burn bright," said the Drekken. "And bright things die fast." Ambassador Marek stepped forward. "We can change." The Drekken leaned in. "That is why you are dangerous. Others we tested broke. You sharpened. You want to stop us?" Rowan asked. "No," the Drekken said. "We want to see how far you go." It was the moment the humans knew. This was not peace. This was still part of the test. But Earth had come in peace, so they did not attack. They stayed calm. Then something went wrong. Without warning, the chamber walls turned red. Alarms echoed in the Drekken ship. The voice returned. Different now, cold, empty. "Earth ship has entered restricted space." "Who?" Merrick shouted. "We came alone." But the Drekken did not answer. The walls vanished. A new screen showed. A human ship flying nearby. Not military, not registered. Just one man. In a stolen shuttle, his name was Alric Dean, a survivor of a Drekken attack. He had lost his family on the Orion Dawn. He had promised revenge. He had followed Truce, one in secret, hidden, waiting, and now he was here, alone. With one bomb, Ambassador Marek screamed into the comms, "Don't do this. We're in peace talks." Ulrich's face appeared, hollow eyes, cold voice. "There's no peace with monsters." He hit the trigger. The bomb exploded. Not big enough to damage the Drekken ship, but enough to send a message. The Drekken screamed. Not with sound, but with light and pressure. The air turned heavy then. ... Everything stopped. Dr. Griggs woke up on the floor of the chamber. Marek and Rowan were beside her, alive but stunned. The Drekken was gone, and a voice spoke one last time. "We offered a chance. God, you brought fire. Now we will see what burns." Chamber opened. Truce One was allowed to leave. The 3 humans returned to Earth. They were not harmed, but something had changed. The last peace. Talks had failed, and now the Drekken were no longer curious. Now they were interested in war. It was the calm before the storm. After the failed peace meeting, the Earth's alliance went silent. No press releases, no updates, no public warnings. But behind locked doors, Everything had changed. The Drekken now knew Earth was not ready to bow, and Earth now knew the Drekken were not interested in peace. The attack on the Drekken, meeting ship done by one man, had been a mistake, but the message it sent was clear. Humans would not be ruled by fear. The Drekken had expected humans to beg. Instead, Earth began to prepare for war. For weeks, massive factories lit up all over the planet. Old military bases, long abandoned, were cleaned and rearmed. Satellites were repositioned. Secret black budget weapons hidden deep in cold labs were activated for the first time. Every scientist, engineer, and soldier knew Earth's survival was not guaranteed. But surrender would mean extinction. High above the planet, far beyond the atmosphere, space was no longer empty. A line of strange ships had appeared in low orbit, not Drekken ships. These were human-made, sleek, black, and silent. No ID numbers. No flashing lights. No radio signals. They looked like giant blades floating above the Earth, pointed at the stars. These were the Sentinels' weapons, Earth. It kept hidden for decades. Only now were they waking up. Their job was simple: to strike. First, the plan was clear. Earth would not wait for the Drekken to come again. Earth would show them what humans could really do. If the Drekken wanted to study fear, would learn what happened when humans stopped being afraid. And the Drekken had made one mistake. They had shown themselves. Thanks to the Hammerfall mission, Earth now had a location: a Drekken fleet. Hidden near the dark moon of Visari Prime, not their main homeworld, but one of their staging grounds, a place where their ships gathered, a place where they felt safe. It was time to change that. The operation was called Iron Sky, led by Commander Vale Rowan. The same man who had tried to bring peace now placed in charge of leading the first strike. He stood on the deck of the human flagship Resolute. His eyes were steady, his voice calm. "We didn't ask for this war," he said to the crew, "but we'll be the ones to finish it." The fleet moved fast, 10 ships, each one armed with the most advanced weapons Earth had. Ever-created laser lances, gravity warheads, EMP shields, drones with minds of their own. The journey to Visari Prime took only a few hours, and then they saw them, the Drekken fleet, hundreds of ships, floating like dark statues in space. They weren't moving. They didn't need to. They were waiting, Commander. Rowan gave no speech. He gave only one order: begin. The first strike was silent. A wave of gravity pulses shot from the Resolute. The Drekken ships didn't even move. They didn't have time. Within seconds, 5 enemy vessels shattered like glass. Then, Earth's drones swarmed forward, each one small, fast, and burning with heat. They dove into the Drekken formation like wasps in a storm, cutting and spinning, and tearing apart anything they touched. The Drekken answered. Their ships didn't fire bullets or beams. They released energy-dark clouds of radiation and sound that shook human ships from the inside. One human ship, Kuwing, exploded in silence. 27 crew lost, but the others pushed forward. Commander Rowan's eyes stayed cold. "They wanted to see our fear," he said. "Let them see our fire instead." The Resolute fired its main cannon, a pulse beam made of compressed plasma and folding light. It cut through 3 Drekken ships in one blast. Then something happened. A Drekken command vessel, the largest ship, and the fleet started to open. Its outer skin peeled away. It's not like metal, but like a living thing. And from inside it came something new, a shape, a weapon. It looked like a person, but it moved too fast. To smooth, it flew toward the Resolute, crossing space like a comet. Human weapons fired. But they passed through it. Then the being landed on the Resolute's hull. It did not break the metal. It passed through it like mist. Alarms rang. Lights turned red. The crew inside felt cold, not from the air, but from something deeper, like their souls had been touched. And then it stopped. The thing stood before Commander Rowan. On the bridge, tall, dark, shifting like liquid shadow, Its voice was not sound. It was thought. You strike, it said. You burn. You rage. Rowan raised his weapon, but his hand shook. The thing stepped closer. You are beautiful in pain. Commander Rowan looked straight into its black eyes. We're just getting started, he said. Then he fired. The blast hit the shadow in the chest. For a moment, just a moment, it fell backward. And then it laughed. It vanished. Not fled, vanished. The battle outside was almost over. More than half the Drekken fleet had been destroyed. But Earth had lost 2 more ships. Victory was close, but not easy. The remaining Drekken ships pulled back, not in fear, but in interest. They were done watching. For now, the human fleet did not chase them. They had sent their message. The first strike was over, back on Earth. The world held its breath. News spread fast. The Drekken had been hit-tanned. They had bled. But more importantly, humanity had survived the first battle, and now the Drekken knew something they had never expected. Humans do not break. They burn, and what burns learns how to fight back. The stars were no longer still. For centuries, the Drekken had ruled the shadows. They watched from behind black clouds and folded space. They tested, hunted, and disappeared without a trace. No species had ever dared strike them first, until now after. The battle at Visari Prime, Earth did not celebrate. There were no parades. No victory speeches, only silence and preparation. But the message was already sent. Humanity had struck, and the fire was spreading across the galaxy. Other species began to notice. The Zalari silent traders who had once feared the Drekken opened a hidden channel. 2. Earth Command, the Horan, who had never joined any alliance, began sending old war maps to human ships, even the Tekanaria. A race of cold logic and machine thought began to study human war tactics and share their findings. Something had changed. The Drekken were still powerful, still watching, but now the galaxy had seen something new. Resistance. The Drekken began to move more carefully. Their patrols shifted. Their hidden stations were suddenly empty. Their ships vanished from some sectors without warning. They were not retreating, they were thinking. Earth, meanwhile, moved faster than ever before. A new fleet was built in orbit over Saturn. Shipyards that once made cargo freighters now built stealth bombers and hunter drones. Scientists worked day and night, unlocking secrets left behind in the wreckage of Drekken ships. One piece of broken tech changed everything. A strange black crystal was found deep in the core of a destroyed Drekken cruiser. Diet. It pulsed with energy, impossible energy. Not chemical, not nuclear, not even gravitational. Dr. Alara Griggs called it living memory. She believed the Drekken didn't store data in machines. They grew it like bones or nerves. This technology was beyond anything human. But now, Earth had a piece of it, and humanity had always been good at one thing: learning fast. Commander Vale Rowan now led a new division, the Ghost Fleet. These were small teams of fast ship siege, one equipped with Drekken sensors, cloaking fields, and silent drives. Their mission was to move into Drekken-controlled zones and disrupt everything they could. They planted virus beacons. They hacked its communication nodes. They rescued missing humans who had been taken long ago. And every time they left a Drekken zone, they left one message behind: we do not forget. One mission struck harder than the rest. A Ghost Fleet ship called Whisper to found a Drekken lab hidden inside an asteroid. Inside were not weapons, but people dozens of them. Some were scientists. Others were just civilians. All of them had been taken from missing ships. Most were alive. Some had been changed. One man had Drekken tech growing inside his spine. A woman could no longer speak, but could hear Drekken signals in her head. The Ghost Fleet took them home. The rescue was clean, fast, silent, but the message it sent was loud. The Drekken had tried to learn what humanity feared. Now, humanity was learning what the Drekken could lose. Across alien worlds, the fire spread. On the Horan moon of Jorok, a small station flew the human flag beside their own. on the auxiliary trade lanes, Earth ships were no longer seen as prey but as partners. The galaxy was watching. The galaxy was choosing, and many were. Choosing to stand behind Earth, but far beyond, deep in Drekken space. The old ones still watched. The ones who had started the tests. They had studied 100 species, broken most, ignored the weak, destroyed the defiant. But humanity had done something no one else had ever done. It changed the rules. The Drekken had expected fear. Instead, they found fury. They expected surrender. Instead, they got strategy. And now, they were not sure. Not afraid. Not yet. But uncertain. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the Drekken began to argue among themselves. Some wanted to end the test, to retreat, to wait another century. But others wanted to continue, wanted to see how far the humans could go, how far the fire could spread before it burned the whole sky, back on Earth. Commander Rowan stood alone on the edge of the new warship Vengeance. He looked at the stars. He did not smile. He did not speak. But deep inside, he knew. This war had already changed humanity. They were no longer explorers. No longer a peaceful race hiding behind words. Now, the galaxy knew the truth. Humans had been tested. Humans had been pushed. And what came back from the fire was something new. The darkness between the stars had always belonged to the Drekken. They had no homeworld anymore. No cities, no sun, no sky. They lived in ships made from bone and black metal. Their minds were connected in ways no other species could understand. They were not individuals. They were a swarm of thought, living shadow. For thousands of years, they had studied life across the galaxy. Observed, tested, broken. They wanted to understand what made species survive. And what made them fall? They believed they had seen everything. Until they met the humans. At first, Earth was nothing special to them. A loud, messy world. Too emotional. Too primitive. But that was before the first human strike. Before the fire. Before the fire. Before the message, "We do not fear you now." The Drekken were not so sure. A cold council gathered in the silence of a drifting station, far beyond any star map. The Drekken elders floated inside a chamber made of light and memory. They did not speak with mouths. They sent thoughts. One by one, they reviewed what had happened. The human fleet had struck at Veseri Prime. It should have been impossible, but they did it. They had found Drekken tech, and instead of being afraid, they had turned it into new weapons. They had entered Drekken space and come back alive. They had found prisoners and saved them. Worst of all, they had not waited for war to come. They had taken war to the stars. The elders had no word for this. They had never needed one until now, for the first time. Something new passed between them. A feeling, a tremble, a shadow, fear, the younger Drekken. Minds did not understand it. They asked, "Why do we fear the humans? They are still few, still weak." But the elders knew fear was not about numbers. It was about unpredictability. Humans changed too fast. They adapted too fast. They turned pain into strength. They turned death into fire. The Drekken had studied thousands of species. Only humans had ever burned back. One elder-old beyond. Understanding sent a warning. The humans are not prey. They are not tools. They are the storm we created, another replied. Then we must end them. But that was not easy anymore. Humanity had spread across 10 systems. Human colonies now built defenses with help from other species. Their alliances were growing, their weapons improving, their people united, and they did something no species had ever done before. They laughed in the face of death. It confused the Drekken. What kind of beings laughed when they should be afraid? What kind of creatures turned loss into rage? The answer was simple. Humans. The Drekken tried one last move. They sent a message to Earth, through the mind of a human child who'd been touched by Drekken tech. The child, named Mika, began to speak. In her sleep, her voice changed. "We offer peace," she said, though the words were not hers. "We offer end of testing. We offer silence." But Earth did not answer with peace. They sent a reply through the stars. On every open frequency it said, "No more silence. No more fear. Now you learn what it feels like to be hunted." And for the first time in their long history, the Drekken felt something they had only ever studied in others. Their ships paused before jumping. Their scouts stopped reporting their minds. Wavered. They had pushed the humans too far, and now the humans were pushing back. Hard. A Drekken ship named Sorrow. Mind was attacked near the blue dwarf system of Sterix-9. The ship was not destroyed. It was taken. The crew inside never returned. The only message found in the wreckage was burned into the walls in human language. "We are not the experiment. You are." Across the Drekken's swarm, strange new thoughts began to echo. Not orders, not commands, but questions. What happens when the prey becomes the predator? What happens when the fire grows out of control? What happens when fear tastes like your own blood? The deepest part of Drekken space. An elder closed its eyes. It had lived for 1,000 years. It had never feared anything, until now. Because now it understood. They had awakened something ancient, not in the stars, but in the human soul. Something that could not be studied, could not be broken, could not be controlled, and it was coming. The stars were quiet. Too quiet, the kind of silence that comes before a storm, Drekken. Ships floated in high orbit above their hidden world, dark, enormous, and silent like the creatures that built them. Below them, the last Drekken city, a living thing grown from metal and bone, pulsed like a heart. Inside the great thought chambers, the elders whispered without words. They had seen enough. They had tested the humans, pushed them, hurt them. Now they would offer peace. Not because they wanted peace, but because they were afraid. Across the galaxy, human fleets were no longer hiding. They were everywhere. They did not invade like conquerors. They moved like ghosts, one by one. Drekken outposts stopped sending messages. Entire fleets vanished without a sound. Every time. The same message was found burned into the walls, carved into Drekken metal, or left floating in silent data streams. You wanted to see a monster? So we became one. The Drekken didn't understand. They had studied fear. They had used it for generations. But they had never felt it not like this. This was something different, something deeper, something... The final moment came without warning. No drums, no warnings, only light above the Drekken world. Space itself cracked open. A fleet arrived. Not the largest fleet the humans had, but the quietest ships that did not hum, engines that left no trace, weapons that glowed faint, red-built with stolen. Drekken tech and shaped by human rage. At the center of it all was the warship known only as Vengeance. Inside stood Commander Vale, Rohan. He did not speak, he did not threaten. He simply gave the order. One word. Now. Then the sky burned, but the fleet didn't destroy the city. They didn't kill everyone. That was not the message. Instead, they shut it all down. Every sensor, every engine, every mind, bridge, gone in minutes. The mighty Drekken were blind and deaf, helpless. The city screamed, not with sound, but with light, blue and red, blinking fast. Like the heartbeat of something dying. Then came the final broadcast sent to every race across the stars. Humanity spoke. Not with fear, not with anger, with something colder. Control. The voice said, "You tested us. You hurt our people. You thought we were weak. You thought we would break. You were wrong. You have seen what we are when we want peace." The voice paused, then continued, "Now you see what we become when we are pushed too far. Across 100 systems." Alien races listened in silence. Some wept, some watched in awe. Some erased Earth's name from their war lists, marked it under one word: untouchable. Back on the Drekken world, the lights went out. For the first time in their ancient history, though the Drekken were alone. No connection, no unity, only fear. The kind humans had tasted once, now returned, multiplied in their final gathering. Elders said nothing. There were no words left, only a deep knowing. The monsters they feared had never lived in the stars. They had lived inside the humans all along, locked away, kept behind. Kindness controlled by hope. But when the Drekken opened that door, they did not find animals. They did not find weak prey. They found something far worse. They found humans. Without limits. Humans who learned faster than anyone, who remembered pain and never forgot who caused it. In the final moments, when Elder said, "We did not just lose to them, we created them." But by then, it was too late, because Earth had already turned away. The war was over, not with a bang, but with silence. And that silence said, more than any weapon, it said, "We never wanted this, but we are very, very good at it." And now, everyone knows.